celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Bless you.
God bless.
Let me apologize right off the bat. I'm a little sick today. And
oh, great. Now we're all going to get it in the studio.
I was told not to come into the studio when I'm sick, and I have. So expect all these guys to be sick next week.
Thank you.
But I'll tell you why I'm here, because it's such a big show. I didn't want to miss it. I didn't want you guys to have all the fun without me. You know, when you were a little kid, you'd call in sick to school, and then when 3 o'clock came around and all the other kids were out playing, you were suddenly not sick anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Not the situation today for me. I want to play with you guys, but I'm sick, and hopefully you won't get sick. I stress that you take your vitamin C and drink your fluids.
Well, it's like a field trip. You know, you said you get up in the morning and you say you're sick, and then you realize there's a field trip that day, and then all of a sudden
Not
you tell
sick
your mom,
anymore.
Not sick. No, Mom, I'm not sick. I can go. I can do this.
Perfect cure.
I'm okay. I'll be fine today.
That was me.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. So this whole sickness thing brought up something in my mind. I had a big question about, I get pretty close to my kitties. They sleep at night with me, pretty close. And I'm always wondering, can they get the colds that humans have?
Can they get any of those germs?
And so we're
a lot of them can pass them.
Yeah,
I know that. I had an experience with E. coli with a dog, not with me, but with a client, and the dog passed the E. coli virus onto their owner.
Wow!
Oh my God!
Zoonosis.
Unwittingly, yeah, zoonosis. So we'll ask Dr. Debbie about that a little later on, because I'm sure it's a question that other people are asking themselves right now.
Especially during flu season, I'm sure.
Yeah. Coming up on the show today, we're going to have Brian Barczyk back. He's the weird snake guy who I think he's been bit like 100,000 times.
At least.
And he has like 30,000 snakes at home.
Wow.
Also, our good friend Dr. Bernadine Cruz will be back. And let's see, the last time she was on, she was talking about the sex life of cats and dogs.
What was her book? The Secret Sex Lives of Cats and Dogs. Very funny book.
But you can be rest assured she'll be talking about the sex life of cats and dogs, or cats at least. Dr. Bernadine Cruz will be joining us in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Tammy Trujillo from the newsroom, what are you working on today?
Have you ever lost your socks?
All the time.
Your socks go missing.
Yep.
Just one.
Just one, yeah. I don't
Just one,
never lose
right.
two.
Yeah.
Well, I know I don't think that your puppy dog there is going to be big enough to do this, but I got a story of a Great Dane, and he was responsible for at least 43 missing socks.
Ooh.
And they had to do an X-ray to find them. This is, it's really serious. Only would 43 fit in a Great Dane. But I've got a great story about a contest on X-rays of weird stuff that vets have seen inside animal stomachs. And this Great Dane, 43 of them, that is indeed a record.
Well, that's where socks go. Good
That
job.
is.
Exactly. I have 4 dogs, and I'm always missing a lot of socks. So my dogs are small, so you figure I can get about 5 in each. So there's 20 socks.
Right there.
Right there. We've solved the age-old mystery. Where do socks go? They go into your dogs.
That's all coming up with Tammy Trujillo in just a couple of minutes. Joey Villani, the dog father, what do you got for us today?
We're going to be talking about sap.
Sap?
We're going to be talking about sap and how it affects your pet when it gets in their coat and how to get rid of it.
Ooh.
Tree sap.
Yeah, that must be hard to get out. I'm thinking like either gum or gooby gone, something like that.
Peanut butter.
Well, we'll find peanut butter. That might be good too. We'll find out in just a few minutes right here with Joey Villani. But it is time for our Hero of the Week. And before I start here, I want to tell you once again, if you want to nominate somebody for our Hero of the Week, our hero person, shoot Judy an email. That's your voice at animalradio.com. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Your voice at Animal Radio. I'm sorry, the cold medicine is just kicking in a little bit. So my feet aren't on the ground. Your voice at animalradio.com. Tell us about the person you'd like to nominate for Hero of the Week. Now, they don't have to be doing something for 1 million animals. No, they could be doing something for one single animal, whatever it is that they're doing, going above and beyond the call of duty.
It doesn't have to be a cat or a dog either. Any kind of animal.
It really, yeah. So we're celebrating the humans that do this kind of stuff. And this week, it is Scott Clare. He's a California man. Scott, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Tell us a little bit about your dog. What's your dog's name?
Bucko.
Bucko. I love that.
Yes.
Why? Named after Buck O'Neill?
Yes.
The baseball player.
Yes.
Damn, I'm old. What? So tell us a little bit about Bucko.
Bucko's a yellow lab. He's about 15 months old now. When he was a puppy, I took him to be neutered at 4 months, and that's when they discovered the irregular heartbeat before he went into, before they put him under anesthesia for the neutering. They gave him an ECG and saw the irregular heartbeat, which put into motion all this craziness.
Well, the craziness, obviously something wrong with his heart. What was it?
Ventricular arrhythmia.
Oh, what does that mean? Is that life-threatening, or?
Yes, because his heartbeat is too fast. What happens is, and I'm not a vet, but in the ventricle it just has a irregular heartbeat, and it's too fast. It's called tachycardia. I was told that because of this fast heartbeat, he could faint, he could suddenly fall over dead, and if he does last any amount of time, he'll eventually develop an oversized heart that will kill him. Wow. His body filling up with fluid and all this stuff. So.
Yeah, and I just want to elaborate a little, because you did say the heart beats fast, but what kind of confusing with this condition is that the blood flow out of the heart is not effective. So even though the heart is trying to beat fast, they're not getting perfusion to their body. So therefore they faint. They can go into, an arrest or a sudden death. And a lot of times it's caused by something else going on in the body, and other times it can be truly from a center of abnormal tissue in the heart that just doesn't signal things correctly within the muscle of the heart.
When an animal like this comes into your office, Dr. Debbie, what is the prognosis usually?
It really depends on the cause. It's life-threatening, and it really depends on if the pet, how clinical they are for it at the time. But thank goodness in this situation they found it before anesthesia, because that could certainly be a huge risk factor for going on.
Well, that's why you check before you put animals under anesthesia for these kinds of things, isn't it?
It is, and it's we want to keep that standard of care up where we do blood work and EKGs prior to anesthesia.
So, Scott, what did you think when you got the news?
Well, I just whatever the vets asked me to do or told me I could do, I did. So my local vet told me to take him to the cardiologist vet down in Los Angeles. So I took him down there.
And you're from Bakersfield?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in Bakersfield.
A few hour drive.
Yeah. It was Woodland Hills, so it wasn't into the heart of L.A., thankfully. So anyway, Dr. Waterman there diagnosed him as having this ventricular tachycardia, and she told me that there was only one place in the country that could take care of him, and it was Cincinnati. So,
Really? Of all the places, Cincinnati was the one place that would help him, huh?
Yeah, there's over 100,000 vets in the U.S., and only one does ablation, and it's because no veterinarian school teaches ablation. So Dr. Wright went to a pediatric hospital to learn how to do ablation.
Oh, interesting.
And then she used that for animals.
So you traveled 2,300 miles to Cincinnati?
Yes, I did.
In a car?
Yes.
Wow. He couldn't fly?
A short amount of time I looked into flying. He was going to have to go through tests for that. So I'm looking at more expense for all these tests that he would have to do, and they still might not approve him to go on a flight. So I just decided, and I didn't want to be separated from him either, if they're going to put him in a cargo hole and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I just decided to suck it up and drive.
Wise choice, because even healthy animals sometimes don't come out of those airplanes.
And I'm so happy you didn't fly him, because with a heart condition, you just don't know how they're going to compensate for altitude and temperature and excitement. So, we don't have to do that.
So 5 days on the road, then you arrived in Queen City, and what happened then?
I didn't know Cincinnati was Queen City. But I checked into the hospital, or checked with the hospital, because he was supposed to go in the next day, and they held him for 24 hours. And then when he was scheduled for the surgery, their power goes out.
Ooh.
And so they scheduled him for surgery for the following day and found out the power had also fried their equipment. So I had to stay another week while they ordered and set up the equipment for him.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I can't imagine this was cheap, and there's probably no insurance that covered it.
Well, I didn't have the insurance. I mean, I paid I paid $1,000 for a puppy that had heart certifications and hip certifications and all that. They just didn't catch the irregular heartbeat. I guess because puppies have a fast heartbeat anyway. So, is that right, Doctor?
To some point, but not to the levels that we get with ventricular tachycardia. That's not normal.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I waited another week, and they got all new equipment, which Dr. Wright thanked me for, that she got all new equipment. And they, on that next day, she, they did the ablation. It was an 8-hour procedure, and a doctor from Cardiac Hospital, or the Children's Cardiac Hospital in Cincinnati, assists Dr. Wright while she does this. He just donates his time.
Wow.
And then, of course, they had an anesthesiologist in there as well. So anyway, back to the money. I guess
$10,000.
Anyway, they hadn't done one before, I think, probably while we're talking. But
sure.
Bucko was the first ever to have a ventricular tachycardia, a ventricular ablation procedure.
Wow.
And so that's how all this publicity happened regarding him.
Well, now, so how is he now?
He is great, but on October 3rd we go to L.A. again to have a final evaluation of his heart with an ECG and a 24-hour monitor.
Well, this is why you're my hero this week. You have gone above and beyond the duty for Bucko, and that includes driving 2,300 miles, pulling out $10,000, which is a lot of money. You love that animal, obviously, and I salute you. I salute you, Scott.
Oh, thank you.
Doing good work.
Bucko and Dr. Wright are the real heroes.
I salute them, too. And go give Bucko a hug from all of us right now, and thank you so much for hanging with us today and telling us your story.
Thank you.
There you go. Another wonderful story, a hero, truly. So if you know somebody like this, nominate them. Send Judy an email at yourvoice@animalradio.com.
I am the family dog, and it's that time of year again. The one where pet parents start looking for Fido-friendly hotels and destinations where Fido is welcome. Make no bones about it. Pets are part of the family, and we like to sniff out new places too, and we hate to be turned away, especially when we're on our best behavior. So we won't be left out in the cold. Be sure to pick up a copy of Fido-Friendly magazine to find the best hotels and destinations where Fido is always welcome. Go online to FidoFriendly.com and subscribe today.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Let's take your calls right now. By the way, you can call in it with your questions directly from the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android, and that's a free download. Time for Dueling Debbies. Hey, Debbie, how are you doing?
Okay.
Just okay?
Yes.
Well, we hope you're doing better today. What can I do for you? Maybe I'll make things better.
In my neighborhood, we have a huge stray cat problem. And I was wondering if there's anything that can be done to keep them out of flower beds. And they just dig them up, sleep in them, use them as litter boxes.
Yeah. And that is definitely, I'll tell you, there are some solutions. All of these will be helpful in certain situations, and you might have variable success with them. And as long as there's those stray cats out there kind of hanging out, they are definitely drawn to soil. You know, it's what they do. It's what they nest in. It's what they cover their excrement in. So it is a natural instinct. So that being said, for those who don't want the cats in their garden, we can try some physical things to keep them away and make it less attractive. And there's some other things that we can do. There are some products out on the market that are granules that help to keep the critters out of certain areas. And I can't say I have a lot of success with those. I am a fan of the physical deterrents, things that don't hurt the cat, but make it unpleasant for them to tread in those areas. And one of the great things you can try, and in a garden it'll have a dual benefit, is the motion-activated sprinkler system. Or there's even one that has a compressed air. So when the electronic eye is set off, when the cat or the animal treads in that area, a sprinkler will go and kind of spook them away. So a very kind, gentle way to just get them out of the area. That, and you may even combine that with, if it's appropriate in your garden setting, is to take chicken wire or really close mesh wire and lay that down in the bed of the garden. And they don't like to step on it. It obviously can only be used in certain areas, but if that's appropriate for some of the bulk areas of your garden, it can be a wonderful deterrent to keep them away from there. One of the natural. No, they will avoid the area. So cats, if they wanted to, they could walk on it. It just feels uncomfortable. It's kind of like walking on, waffle wire. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't cut them. I'm talking barbed wire. We're not talking anything like that. This is just chicken wire or some of that, the rabbit fencing, if you will, that'll help to keep bunnies out. So that's something, but you lay it down because don't just stand it up. They'll just jump right over it otherwise. And then I do have some luck with using citrus products. Just naturally citrus is unpleasant to cats. They don't really like it. They don't want to be around it. So, if you can put some orange peels, lemon peels, and kind of sprinkle that on the perimeter of your garden, it's kind of a natural deterrent that might help to keep the kitties away. And then as far as, I know I've mentioned this before for folks who are having trouble with cats coming near their house, some of the backdoor situations, is that you can actually go to a hunting store and pick up coyote urine. And if you can tolerate the smell of it near your garden, you can treat the area around, and that can help just by signaling that a predator is nearby, and it can deter cats from kind of going in the area. So there's a lot of solutions there. You can try, see what works for you. Certainly is better than clapping your hands and yelling, "Hey, get out of my garden!"
Yeah, I wish there was something we can. They're starving, but. Last summer, I made the mistake of feeding a couple, and I'd come home and there was 20 on my porch. So I wish there was something to do to stop it, but...
Yeah, and that is definitely one thing that you've hit upon that. As long as you offer food sources, those cats are going to be coming around. So you really have to cut that off in your area if you want them to stay away. You're not going to have any luck if you keep feeding them.
Okay, well, I'll try some of those.
Good luck with that, Debbie.
Good luck.
All right, thanks.
That's always a tough problem there. But yeah, don't feed them. Oh, my God. That's going to bring them around in a second.
Feed them in your neighbor's yard.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Doug Ray of the Marshall Tucker Band. And forever, you'll always be listening to Animal Radio. Keep loving those pets.
Hi, it's Alan Cable with another dog tip. You're not going to believe what happened to me. I got bit by a dog yesterday in the park. Yeah. I'm just minding my own business, running. This lady's coming at me with two dogs, no leash. I run by, the dog sneaks up behind me, jumps up on my forearm, takes a nice chunk out of there. And she still doesn't put the dog on a leash. Joke's on the dog, though. He's going to get sick from me. I don't know what was up with this woman after the dog had his way with my arm. She still didn't put him on a leash. There were two of them, and just like a pack, one circled behind me to try to attack from there, while the bigger one confronted me in the front. Now, the woman was just yelling and screaming. Dogs are not paying any attention to her, because they're fraught with anxiety and fear. So what conclusions would you get from this? Well, first of all, the dogs are not socialized at all. They're not used to being around people, and when they get around people that they don't know, they become aggressive. They think that they have to protect their pack, which of course is the woman. Dogs like this should never be allowed off leash, especially in a park. It could have just as easily been a kid on a bicycle or a woman with a baby carriage. Now, it's not the dog's fault. It's the owner's fault. Please, if you're going to get a dog, it's your responsibility to educate yourself and find out what they need to be happy, well-adjusted animals and how to give it to them. It's only fair. You don't want to lock your dogs away from people because they're unpredictable and may bite. If you're thinking of getting a dog, write this down. Socialization, structure, exercise, and affection. These are the 4 basic needs that dogs have besides food. If you get a puppy, bring the dog around as many kids and people as possible. Other dogs, too. If you get an older dog, you should be doing the same thing unless that dog is filled with anxiety and fear like this woman's was. In that case, you're going to need some help from an experienced animal behaviorist who can show you how to socialize the dog. And it's going to take a little work, confidence, and patience on your part. But with a professional, a commitment from you, consistent, fair leadership, and time, most dogs can be socialized and changed into happy, calm, well-adjusted animals.
Would you like to pay lower fees and interest on your credit cards? Of course you would. Are you making more money than you were a year ago? If you're like a lot of us out there, barely living paycheck to paycheck, I doubt it. It just costs more to live today, and you're probably using your credit cards more. To help you, the credit card companies have issued the Credit Card Hardship Program. It's a free program that can help you by reducing their fees. We've set up a special hotline right now, so regardless of what credit card company you work with, we can help you negotiate through the hardship program. To qualify, you must have $10,000 or more in credit card bills, have a source of income or a job, and you're having a tough time paying your bills. Listen, we want to help you, so please make this free phone call right now to learn more.
800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. That's 800-245-1567. Paid for by the Debt Solutions Network.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
And I'm Tammy Trujillo. Now, here is something that is pretty awful, and it's becoming very prevalent. It actually has a name now. It's called pet flipping. It involves a criminal getting his hands on a cat or dog by stealing it or claiming to be the owner of a missing pet and then quickly selling the animal. Pet flippers snatch pets from front porches and backyards, or they pick them up if they're wandering the streets. The new buyer generally has no idea the pet actually belongs to somebody else who is desperately looking for the animal. Is your dog depressed? A recent survey of pet owners suggested as many as 80% of our dogs may be depressed or suffering from anxiety. It can be a little hard to tell because some of the behaviors are pretty common things like excessive barking at visitors, cars, even the vacuum. I've got one of those. Now, if you think your pet's behaving strangely, you really should take him to the vet for a checkup. If everything's fine, tell your vet about the pet's behavior. They may have a suggestion or prescribe an antidepressant or an anxiety medication like Prozac or Zoloft. Have you ever wondered where missing socks go? Well, one family in Oregon found out the hard way. Their 3-year-old Great Dane was miserable. He was coughing, just horrible. They rushed him to the emergency clinic there in Portland, and x-rays showed he had 43 socks in his stomach. It took 2.5 hours of surgery to get them out. The Great Dane went home one day after the surgery. He's just fine. Now, this story actually happened back in February, but it's just coming out now because it won in an annual contest of weirdest x-rays of what pets eat that's held by the magazine Veterinary Practice News. Among the other entries, a kitten that ate a toy alien figure. The x-ray looked fantastic on that. A bearded dragon that ate a miniature banana from a Barbie dream house, and a frog named Kermit that ate more than 30 small ornamental rocks. Luckily, all the animals are fine now. I'm Tammy Trujillo. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating our connection with our pets. Oh, the Pet Shop Boys. And you know why they named themselves the Pet Shop Boys? Because not only did they have the iguanas, but they had flamingos, cats, and dogs all there in the recording studio when they did their music.
What about penguins?
Oh, I think so, too.
Yeah, of course.
I'm pretty sure about that.
Well, Pet Shop, you see flamingos and penguins at Pet Shop, right?
They had no penguins there. Don't be making fun of me throwing in stuff that isn't true, okay? Because they didn't have any penguins, I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
It's Animal Radio. I heard it on the radio. It must be true. And Dr. Debbie's answering your calls, as well as dog father Joey Villani. Right now we go to Jackie. Hey, Jackie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Where do you live?
I actually live on Long Island.
Calling from Long Island. Okay.
Yes.
What's going on over there today?
Other than it being cloudy, let's see. I have 2 chihuahuas that I am permanently boarding at my residence.
Okay.
And the lady visits them, on and off. She's going through some tough times. So, and I noticed that the one likes to not wait for me to take him outside to go to the bathroom.
Okay, he's peeing in the house.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, they're normally in the kitchen, and I put down, the little paper towel thingies, and, they're allowed to go in the kitchen. But per landlord rules, no animal defecation on the carpet, which we already have broke that rule.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And she actually caught it once, and she goes, "Oh my God, he never does that at home."
Okay. Well, it sounds like there's a lot going on in these little guys' life. And you didn't tell me at the beginning, are we male, female? Are they spayed, neutered?
They are both, they're both males. I'm pretty sure they are neutered, actually. Yes, they are.
Okay. All I got to do is lift up those hind legs and look, and you'll see two suckers hanging there if he's not neutered.
Yeah, no, they are.
Okay. All righty.
Yes, they are.
Okay. So this is a weird kind of situation. So the owner comes to your home. You are caring for them. What was their home life like before?
Well, she left, I think it was kind of like a hoarding situation. And they were living together. She said, "Clean up or I'm out," and she's out.
Okay. So I guess what I was asking is, were they crate trained? Did they go outside to eliminate, or did they go inside?
I think it was actually never really asked. But I think that they're inside most of the time, and then they took them out to go to the bathroom.
Okay. Because this is where we can have some real challenges with house training in an adult or even a puppy. If we have different methods that we're asking the dog to learn and to differentiate what situations it's appropriate to do one thing and to not do it in another. So in many cases, it can be very confusing for a dog to say, "I want you to go outside to go to the bathroom, but when I'm not around, here's this potty pad and I want you to go there. But at other times, I don't want you to go in the house and I want you to go outside. Or I want you to go in this room only and not that room." So that can be very difficult for many dogs, especially when we've got a lot of upheaval going on in these guys' life and they're living in a different environment. So for me, I'm going to say, like, the number one thing is decide how you are going to manage their potty needs while they're in your care. If you're going to do the outdoor training, make that your effort. Make that a sincere effort. And the goal would be to get off of those potty pads and to get them so that they can tell you and alert you when they want to go outside, and to as long as you're not leaving them longer than 8 hours at a stint, then they should be reliable if they're fully house trained. So we may have some failures.
She said they were house trained. She said, "Oh yeah, they'll let you know and everything." And that completely went out the window when they came, which I understand is traumatic for them. Tiny little things in this completely different house. So I'm okay. And I have done, if I see him, start to go, it's only the one. If I see him start to go, I say no, and clip the leash on, grab him, put him outside, and we'll go for a good half an hour walk or so. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We come back in, I'm taking my shoes out, boom, there he goes. And he looks at me like he's doing it out of spite.
Well, dogs don't pee out of spite, so forget that. Forget that theory. Now, so the basics, this is going to be true whether we have a puppy or an adult. But with an adult, I think the biggest challenge is that people tend to think, oh, they should understand this. They should know what I want them to do. So we don't always put as much effort. So imagine those doggies like they are little 8-week-old puppies, and you have to treat them as that because they're in a different environment. So even though they were house trained, supposedly, in the other environment, it doesn't always translate. There can be situations where they might be uneasy in this new environment. They may not be confident going out to mark and to urinate where they need to go. So really, that's the number one thing is supervising and confining them when you are not directly supervising them. And that means if you're in one room and they're in the other, that's not 100% supervision. We really need to have them either crated in a playpen or either tethered on a leash and on your side. So you really have to be that strict when it comes to the supervision. And then as with anything with house training, we want to clean things up thoroughly using a good enzymatically based cleaner that helps to break down the odors. You have to do that where they're going currently. We can try some things to make deterrents to not make those areas appealing for dogs and cats.
I have the all natural one that has like the citrus scent. but that doesn't seem to be working.
Well, a scent isn't going to matter so much as if it states that it's an enzyme-based cleaner. That's what we want.
Okay.
I don't care if it's got citrus or floral or whatever. You really need to have an enzyme-based one. That's number one. And then to make those areas, if there's particular areas that they're going, make that more unfavorable, where we don't want them to go, we might put down things like a food bowl in that area, or we might put upside-down carpet runners, those little plastic carpet runners that have small little spikies. They don't hurt. They're just uncomfortable. You can put that down in areas to limit their access and to deter them from going in those areas. But you also need to take that opportunity to show them what you want them to do. Don't expect they're going to know. So take them out on a leash, just like that 8-week-old puppy that you would do. You take them out, go potty, go to the bathroom, whatever your key word is. Let them eliminate and reward them verbally and sometimes with treats when they are doing that appropriately. You have to remember that, because even though they're older, they still need that positive reward to say, that's what she wants me to do. I got it.
Okay.
So that's very important.
It would be a good idea to carry some treats around, and then when they do say, good boy, and give them the treat. So keep the treats on at all times.
I mean, you can. It doesn't have to be all about treats. It can be a toy. It could be love and affection. The biggest thing, and the biggest thing I feel people have the shortcoming, is giving them verbal praise. They do something good, and we don't always say, oh, good dog. So we have to take that opportunity to make sure that we pair that with the behavior that we want to see. Before we consider these guys house trained, I would want to see them for 4 to 8 weeks of consecutive good behavior without any accidents. And then that's when we start to introduce more areas. So, I'm not about keeping dogs in kennels all day long, but we don't want them to have unrestricted access where they're going to get into trouble. Don't set them up to fail is basically what we want.
We all love children, and many of us have an old car, truck, or van in the driveway. Find the Children has a great way for you to put your unwanted vehicle to good use. Keep listening. Every year, thousands of kids go missing. Trust me, it's a parent's worst nightmare. When a child goes missing, every moment counts, and you need all of the help you can get. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to locating missing children and bringing them home safely. You can help support their mission by donating your car, truck, van, or SUV. A towing company will come and pick up your car for free, running or not, and the donation of your car is tax deductible. Your help is providing the funds they need to continue their services. Call now, donate your old vehicle to Find the Children, and get free pickup. Here's the number:
800-711-5096. 800-711-5096. 800-711-5096. That's 800-711-5096.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dr. Debbie came rushing in this morning. Guess you had some clients you had to deal with. Vaccinations? Oh, I see you were upset about that. What's going on?
Well, mostly it's a matter of making sure our pets get vaccinations. We actually had an unfortunate death this morning from a dog with parvovirus. So, we've seen, I can tell you this month, I've seen cats with distemper, cats with feline leukemia, tons of dogs with parvovirus. So my message to all our listeners is really make sure if you get a new dog, cat, puppy, or adult, get that pet to the vet within days of getting it. It's so important to have that consultation with your veterinarian. Find out what shots they need.
How often should they get these vaccinations? The parvovirus vaccination, is that once that they get that?
No, for puppies we start as young as 6 weeks, and generally every 3 to 4 weeks. So we do 6 weeks at our office, 6, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and 16 weeks of age. So the challenge becomes where folks kind of get behind and get busy. So you want to, get that pet to the vet, and really we'll formulate a protocol for you, kind of knowing where your pet's coming into things.
Okay, distemper and feline leukemia, is that a once shot, or do they get that frequently?
As a youngster, it is going to be a boosting series, also about 3 to 4 weeks apart.
Okay.
And then when we get to adult series, we kind of get more comfortable. We feel less likely that they're going to have, infectious disease. So we may span the vaccines out to, 1 year every couple of years. But as puppies and kittens, it is imperative that you work with your veterinarian, get these kids vaccinated.
Yeah, don't space on that. It's so important. There's no reason that, and this puppy that you lost this morning was like 8 months old.
8 months
Horrible.
old. Yes.
I need Brandon to cheer me up. Brandon, I hope you're going to cheer me up.
I'm doing good.
Very good. Where are you calling from?
Right now we're on the road coming from Washington.
Do you have your dog with you?
No, it's a cat.
Oh, it's a cat. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's going on there, Brandon?
I just have like a couple questions. Is there, like, my cat was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism like 2 years ago.
Okay.
And, like, is there anything to be able to do for that? They told me that I could get medication that I'd have to give to him, like every month. It'd be like $50-some bucks.
Yeah, so if your kitty was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, what basically that means is that the thyroid gland is producing too much of its hormone, and that causes the body's metabolism to go into overdrive. So cats with hyperthyroidism tend to eat crazily. They have a strong appetite, but they lose weight. They might vomit. They might have a lot of thirst and urination, and untreated, it will be fatal from the consequences of the high thyroid hormone, the heart disease that sets in, or the other complications. So, yes, this absolutely needs to be treated. And the good thing is there are various options to treat pets with thyroid disease depending on your cat's situation and honestly, your financial situation. So the preferred way to treat a cat with a high thyroid is it's a type of radioactive iodine treatment that basically destroys the abnormal tumor that produces this, and it spares all the healthy tissue. So that's very nice. It's very targeted. It tends to be pretty expensive, though, and it may not be available in all parts of the country, depending on where you're at. But that is usually my first recommendation. But in my area, it's usually about $1,000 starting price. So it's definitely not the first line or the most realistic for everyone. But yes, the other options that we tend to go with would be a little bit on the cheaper side, can be medication. And medication, generally maybe $50 a month sounds realistic. There is some monitoring that has to be done with that. So some blood levels have to be drawn to make sure we're giving enough and not too much of this medicine. And also to watch for side effects, because the medicine for a high thyroid condition can sometimes have some liver consequences, and some cats just can't tolerate it. They'll just have vomiting, diarrhea. They don't do well on it. That medicine can be in a pill, a liquid, and there's even a form you can apply to the skin on the ears, and that can be a nice alternative for some folks that just, their cat's not the easiest to medicate. So that might be a thought. And then even more recently, the new way to even address thyroid problems in cats is a special diet made by Science Diet. It's a prescription diet called YD. And what's really cool about this food is it is a super, super low in iodine. And that helps to kind of, if you look at it, reverse the thyroid condition. And there are some cats that I have that are managed without medicine, solely on eating this diet and nothing but this diet. And that's the hard thing for many folks, is the cats have to eat it. You can't give treats. You can't give other brands. They can't get into the other cat's food. But that can be a nice way, and it's still an economical way to try to manage this condition. So it really just depends, Brandon, on what you're kind of prepared for doing. If there's other stuff going on, because sometimes cats with thyroid disease will have heart problems. They can have high blood pressure. And then we always have to watch kind of a kidney problem that sometimes is kind of hiding under the surface. So you said right now your kitty's not being treated for this?
Correct.
Okay, so I hope I can encourage you, because of all these horrible things I've told you that can happen if we don't treat it, to at least see which option might work for you to get this baby on some kind of therapy at this time.
So, like, where could I find that Science Diet at? Would that be a Walmart or something?
Never. This is a medication in a kibble format. So you are not going to find a food like this anywhere on the market, on any shelf outside of your veterinary office. And the reason is because it could be very dangerous if it's given to a pet that doesn't have this condition. So what you're going to need to do is work with your veterinarian, tell them what kind of finances, what your goals are, what you're prepared to do for your kitty, and between your vet and yourself, you can come up with what option might be the best, whether it's the food or the medication route or the iodine treatment. But you definitely need to take the kitty into the vet and to work with your vet.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. We guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
And Judy continues to book an amazing show this hour. We will hear from Brian Barczyk. We had him on before. He's a snake guy. He had that Snake Bite TV. The guy who's been bitten 100,000 times and has 30,000 snakes.
Doesn't learn, does he?
Joey, what are you going to be talking about this hour?
We're going to be talking about sap. Very exciting sap, okay? And how it affects your dog's coat when it gets in there and hardens up and makes a hard little ball that you got to get rid of.
Oh, okay. That's on the way right here on Animal Radio. Let's go to the phones for you first.
I think we have Joyce here. Hi, Joyce.
Well, hello, Doctor. How are you?
I am doing really wonderful today. What do you have going on with you?
We have a Jack Russell Chihuahua mix that we got in October. Someone put the dog in my sister's yard at 11 o'clock at night. We thought that she had been spayed because there was a mark on her tummy that looked like that she had had surgery. But evidently she wasn't, so she may have had puppies at some time. But we did have her spayed 4 weeks ago, and now good. She has a little stuffed toy, which is a fire hydrant, and she thinks the toy is her baby.
Okay.
She licks it, cleans it, she picks it up and cries and whines. Is this something that's serious or no?
No, not at all. And she's actually going through what we descriptively call false pregnancy. And even though all of her reproductive parts are gone, in many dogs, they'll go through this kind of cycle of hormones afterwards. And sometimes it is more of the dogs that were pregnant or may have been used for breeding. So we do see that a little bit more with them. But basically, those hormones are still telling her body that she's pregnant. And all of those bodily changes will still happen as if she was pregnant. And some dogs will actually look like they're gaining weight. They will even produce milk. So you might even see that if you look there and she looks a little bit engorged down by the mammary area. That is commonly seen in a false pregnancy. And then definitely the behavioral things where you see her carrying a baby around and nursing the baby, cleaning the baby, whatever it might be, whether it's a fire hydrant or if it's, heaven forbid, a dog. But all of those type of behaviors are all very normal. With a false pregnancy, the interesting thing is that these signs will last as long as a regular pregnancy does. So if she was just spayed, 4 to 5 weeks ago, you still have maybe another couple weeks of this kind of behavior going on. So nothing you really need to do other than give her that little time with her little fire hydrant baby and just make sure she's comfortable. Watch for behavioral things. Some females might get a little bit, aggressive, as if they would if they were truly pregnant and guarding their baby. So give her a little bit of extra space, lots of love, and just know that she'll get through this here eventually.
Right. We go to the dog park, and she took the toy with her one day because she wouldn't leave it at home. and she buried it in a hollow tree over there. And
oh, well, gosh.
She did not want me to get her out of the tree so I could get the toy.
Okay.
We finally did manage that, and of course it had to be washed, and she didn't like it because I washed the toy.
Yeah. And that definitely, you're seeing some of those kind of protective mothering instincts that dogs can have. So the trick is to not get into that situation while she's still going through these hormone fluctuations. So the kind of in rewind mode, I would probably say, let's work on a way to not have that toy go with her to certain situations where she's around other people or dogs where she might become, a little bit possessive about that. So try to give her a treat, give her food in exchange for that little baby so that in those situations you don't put yourself or anyone else at risk. And like I said, just give her a little extra love, a little extra space, and she'll get through there. So keep up the work there, Joyce. And this is Dr. Debbie with Animal Radio.
Hey, Roger, how you doing?
Fine, how are you?
Very good. You're on with Dr. Debbie.
Hi, Doc. How are you?
Well, hi, I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. I just want to know if you can solve my dog's problem.
I'll give it my darndest.
Okay. I've got a 6-month-old Jack Russell puppy, and his skin is pink all the time, and he scratches a lot. And it's really, really pink. And our vet said to try giving him Benadryl. She thought maybe that solved the itching, but it hasn't.
Okay. Does it change anything with the redness with him?
No.
Is he itchy in any particular area, or is it kind of all over him?
His bad. Now he's pink all over, but he really does the digging on his lower back.
Okay. And as far as fleas, things of that nature, do you have any issues with that?
No, he has no fleas. He's inside. At first, I thought maybe he's getting sunburned, from being outside, but he's not outside that much.
And is there any hair loss in any of the areas where he's messing with that?
Where he's chewing, the hair's a little bit shorter, but it's not really hair loss.
Alrighty. Well, a couple of thoughts that I have. One is that I would definitely make sure, even though we don't see any kind of critters like fleas, I would want to check him for types of skin mites. And in a young dog, that certainly could be a possibility. And sometimes if we don't even see these things, which are little microscopic critters, I'll even still try a medication to treat for mites because there are some types that are really hard to find, and we can retest and not see the type of mite called Sarcoptes, and that is quite itchy for a lot of dogs. So I would try that route, and then also for a young dog that's itchy and having some redness, even some rash type changes, I really would examine the possibility of food allergy.
We kind of went through a little bit of that with the vet.
You did? Okay. Did you try anything different?
Did we what now? I'm sorry.
Oh, did you try anything different? Any food changes?
Oh, yes, we did, and that didn't change. We did. That was the first thought of hers was that it was a food allergy, and that didn't seem to do anything.
Okay. So tell me what kind of diet that you tried and how long?
Gosh, my wife's on the feeding. Well, he's on a pedigree right now, which is a dry food, and we tried a canned food for a while, and I can't tell you what it was, but it's something that the vet recommended.
Okay, because when we're talking about food allergies, it's just kind of an innate problem with certain proteins or carbohydrates. So I like to do a food trial on a special hypoallergenic diet for about 6 to 8 weeks. If during that time we have little breakthroughs where we're getting little food off the table or milk bones or they're getting into the cat's food, then all those little episodes kind of decrease the whole efficacy of a food trial. So that's where if we invest the time and the money in some of these diets, I want to make sure just like all of those little details that, we keep that all kind of in a control within our means.
Right.
And hypoallergenic foods that I would tend to go for in a dog, especially a short-haired dog, I really like some of the different hydrolyzed protein diets for this type of issue. And that might be like Hill's, ZD, Purina has one that's called HA. And these are basically diets that the proteins are still used by the body, but they're very small and they kind of go past the immune receptors in the stomach and the gut. And for a pet who has a food allergy, it's one way to trick their immune system. But that would be something that I would
What was the Hills again?
ZD. Z as in zebra.
Okay, because I think Hills is what we tried, I think.
Okay. And, there's a lot of other ways to go with hypoallergenic diets. So, lamb and rice used to be an old hypoallergenic type of diet, but, we do see pets that actually can become sensitive to any kind of food, whether it's, chicken and rice or lamb and rice. So there are some different diets out there that might be duck-based, venison-based, so some of those things might be still within the realm of trying. Okay. Now, if we've ruled out all these other problems, we've done a really good, thorough food trial, I do have some luck with a medication that is used for allergies. And rather than putting a young dog on steroids, which is just a lifetime of just, giving him a lot of side effects he doesn't need, I will actually look at some different immune modulator drugs. And there's one called Atopica, which is a cyclosporine-based drug, and that for a lot of dogs with allergies is a real relief, but that's kind of a secondary level. So I'd try that food first, and then maybe see about trying some Atopica.
Okay, could we do the food and the skin mite medicine maybe at the same time, just to?
Yeah, and that would definitely be a good way, because it takes a little time even for the mite treatments to see a benefit or a change. And I definitely, if you have the opportunity, I would have your veterinarian take that skin scraping and look at it just to make sure, even if they've done it already, because it's just the basic when it comes to something like this, and we want to go down that right path. So I think that's really important for you there.
Would one of our dogs have mites and the other one wouldn't?
You could have that, yeah. And some dogs will have mites that are actually adult dogs that aren't around other dogs, and their immune system just isn't quite the same. So that is a possibility. Some types of mites are very contagious to other dogs, and others are kind of more of an inherent problem for a particular animal. So check that out and see how that skin works out. Hopefully we get that scratching under control. This is Dr. Debbie with Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too. Taking a drive with your pet can be so much fun, unless it's a snake. A Florida man was taking a drive with his pet snake when the snake he had wrapped around his neck started attacking his face. 30-year-old Cortland Johnson drove his PT Cruiser into several roadwork barriers, causing about $1,000 in damages. An onlooker said Johnson had the snake in his hand at the time of the crash. Both he and his snake are okay. Johnson, who, when he's not driving around with a snake, works at Bennigan's, had small cuts on his body, face, and hand, and was charged with leaving the scene of a crash. And I worry about using my cell phone. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Hi, this is Park Overall. I am just thrilled about Animal Radio. Please, spay and neuter your animals. Please.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Right now, I believe we have Dana on the phone. Hi, Dana.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from California, Monterey Park. I'm at work.
Okay. Working on a weekend.
Oh, yeah. I'm in security, so I'm at a bank, so we work 24/7.
Ooh.
Not just myself, but everyone, a full crew.
Ooh. It sounds sort of like our jobs. A little bit like that.
Definitely like my job working on weekends.
Yeah, you get called in all hours, I bet, Dr. Debbie.
Oh, definitely. What can we do for you here, Data?
I have 2 cats. One of them, my tomcat, I've had him about 1.5 years. He looks Siamese. Got 5 toes on both front paws, and he looks Siamese.
Oh, cool. Yes, I love polydactyls.
Oh, man, and he's got the blue eyes and the Siamese markings. But the problem is I got a female. She's part Siamese. I've had her since she was a baby. When Eukanuba changed their formula about 4 or 5 months ago, she refused to eat the new formula.
Okay.
No, I'm not kidding. She weighs about maybe 6.5, 7 pounds. She went down to less than 4 pounds in weight because she would not eat the new formula. I went through so much. I even took her into the vet. The vet said, well, she looks healthy and everything. I want to run a blood test and x-rays and everything else. I had $400. I went, I'm sorry, I can't afford that. I love this little girl, but getting her to eat any food other than wet food, I can mix it with the cat food, with dry food, and she'll eat the wet food plus the dry. But I can't afford that every day. So I
She's going to break the food bank there.
Right. I have gone through so many varieties of cat food that have been told me, well, this will probably work. This will probably work. She turns her nose up at everything and tries to bury it. Okay. I've even tried her on the Eukanuba. She goes over, sniffs it, turns her ass end up at it, and walks away. Won't even touch it. Well, I finally found one, a girl, my next-door neighbor. Her sister lives in Arizona, and she gave me a website called Call of the Wild. Well, they sent me some 4 or 5 sample packets. And in one of the sample packets, they had called chicken soup.
Okay.
I put a little bit down. My tomcat, he sniffed that, stopped, and he started eating it. I figured, okay, if he'll eat it, she's got to eat it.
Isn't that like kitty crack, pretty much, Doctor?
I want to take her, and but I love her, but she's a fluff ball. She only weighs actually about 7 pounds in full weight with the fur. And I can't get her to eat any dry food. I don't know what to put down. I don't know if I can put something on the food to get her to eat it. Hell.
Okay. The big question I'd have, I know you said she dropped some weight, but at her current weight, what does your veterinarian say? Is she in a healthy weight? Do they say she's underweight?
No, she was fine on normal weight. When I had her, when she was eating, she was normal weight, about 7.5 pounds, maybe a little bit overweight, but nothing major. You know what I mean?
Okay.
She's very active within the house. But I'm talking about the weight loss is when she wouldn't eat. She dropped down to less than 4 pounds.
Okay.
She wouldn't eat anything but unless I put wet food down for her every day.
Yeah, and I don't know that. I mean, I'd love to blame this all on just a dietary or a food preference type thing, but gosh, to have a kitty that doesn't eat anything and doesn't prefer anything, sometimes we will go to the canned foods, but I know you have some reservations about doing some testing, but it might really be prudent to do some basic things. Maybe not if you can't commit to that whole $400 bill, but there might be some things we want to check out because there can be some metabolic problems that will cause a pet's appetite to be poor. They can actually have low-grade gastritis or stomach upset from some conditions. So you might, if I could encourage you to do that, that would be, I think, something very good. Now, if we just talk about diet and what things we can use, if a kitty is this picky and their teeth are healthy and we don't see any bad teeth, any infection in the mouth, then I would definitely say, well, throw up the hands. If we won't eat dry regularly, let's try some of those canned varieties. Some of the gravied ones will be a little bit more favored by some cats. We throw in the extra added benefit, is kind of heating it in the microwave and making it extra stinky, smelly, and canned cat food. You heat it up a little bit and it sends people walking the other direction, but cats seem to come running. So I would try that. As far as some of those other products you've mentioned that you tried some samples, if I have a cat that's this fussy and we've ruled out medical problems, I do kind of give in to their preferences. Now, that would be, if she's a little bit on the skinny side, I would definitely encourage you to look into that medical aspect. If she's in a healthy weight, I don't know. I don't always like to give in to, pulling those exotic things off the shelf, because the richer foods, the more variability we throw into the diet, that's going to throw more to her digestive system. We want a nice, stable, consistent diet, and that's the best thing for dogs and cats. If we can keep them on a regimen, their guts will be thankful, and the litter box will be thankful also.
I can't even get her to eat the Friskies dry food. She will not.
Well, you know what? If she eats that canned food, that's where I'm going to say throw up your hands. There's different arguments for dry versus canned food. For some cats, we actually, feeding canned foods may be a little bit healthier for some conditions. So, I would say if she'll eat that canned food, give into it. If you find a particular brand that she really likes and she's consistent with her appetite, stick with it. Friskies won't be on the top of my list, but if it works for her and you and her are happy and, her appetite is more stable, then that's really the ultimate goal. It's all about, they make our lives happy. We need to make her lives happy and within reason. Keep up those efforts there, Dana. Hopefully we'll get your girl to eat real regular here. This is Dr. Debbie with Animal Radio.
Well, you lucky dog, don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com.
Got an old car? You can donate it and save a life. The United Breast Cancer Foundation needs your help. They want to keep saving lives by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car or truck, running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Call now for free pickup.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Tammy Trujillo. A year-long project that started back in February is the very first Pan-Africa aerial survey of savanna elephants since the 1970s. It's being funded by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen and includes 18 countries. It's called the Great Elephant Census. It doesn't include forest elephants because you can't spot them from the air. Ecologist Mike Chase is the lead researcher on the project and says if they know more, they have a better chance of saving the elephants. And he shared an amazing and at the same time horrifying fact that in 2013, they know that 96 elephants a day were being lost in Africa to poaching and other threats. Well, this is pretty interesting. This is from the Isle of Guernsey off the coast of England, and it's been working on a series of animal welfare law updates. The first one is now in effect, and it calls for a person to face charges if they don't make sure that animals are free of pain. Basically, if an animal is hurt, you have to take it to the vet. It's based on what they're calling the so-called 5 freedoms for animals. Freedom from thirst, hunger, and malnutrition, freedom from discomfort, freedom from pain, injury, or disease, freedom from fear and distress, and the freedom to express normal behavior patterns. Sounds like a great plan, except that veterinarian appointments on Guernsey cost just a tiny bit less than a regular human doctor appointment. But the government there says if you can't afford to keep a pet happy and healthy, then you shouldn't have one. And a retired military dog who is credited with saving thousands of lives is going to get the life-saving surgery he needs. Kay is an 8-year-old pit bull and lab mix who was rescued from a shelter in Texas and then trained to sniff out IEDs in Afghanistan. He now lives with his former handler, Army Specialist Brandon Donahue, and his family in Colorado. They recently found out Kay has a tumor in his heart that is causing it to beat improperly. And the vet said that Kay would only live a few months if that tumor wasn't removed. If they got it out, though, Kay would be happy and healthy for another 5 or 6 years. So the family started a GoFundMe account and raised more than the $6,000 needed for the surgery. They plan to use the extra money to pay for Kay's checkups and medications and support him through a very well-deserved retirement. I'm Tammy Trujillo. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com. Portions of today's show are a repeat from an earlier broadcast.
You know who we have back on the phone? This is his second appearance on Animal Radio is Brian Barczyk. He's the snake guy. Remember, he had the...
Oh, yeah.
Lives like with a million different snakes.
At least
kind
a
of
million.
weird.
Yeah.
And
It's pretty cool.
Don't think he had a girlfriend at the time, but we'll find out if that's changed.
I don't know. Girls like that.
Do girls like snakes? I don't know.
I do.
What?
I do.
Do you? You like snakes?
Oh, God, I think they are so beautiful, yeah.
Hey, Brian, do the girls like it?
I tell you what, there is no doubt that there's a whole contingent of reptile groupies out there. So, but I'm married for 25 years, so I wouldn't know anything about that, right?
No, what is your wife?
Right answer.
Yeah, that is the right answer. What does your wife think of all the snakes?
You know, she's actually done it full time with me for the last 25 years, and quite frankly, she doesn't get the obsession. You know what I mean? She thinks they're cool, but she's not a snake person by any stretch. But she does come to work every day and works with snakes. So, you know, she thinks it's a cool ride. You know, I mean, it gets us to travel the world and meet cool people and do cool things, and so she puts up with it. I wouldn't say she's passionate about it. Let's put it that way.
Well, it pays the rent. At least now.
It does pay the rent. Yeah.
So are you just into snakes, or you got the whole reptile thing going on?
You know, I have the biggest affinity towards snakes, but I'm an animal guy all around. You know, I mean, and I do a bunch of different reptiles. I've got gators and lizards and all kinds of different stuff like that. But I'm more of a snake guy per se. But at the same time, I literally do animal adventures around the world. You know, just last week we were messing with snow leopards and cheetahs and penguins. So I'm an animal nut when it comes to it. You know, really.
Well, that's why we got you back on the phone, is because you have a thing you called Animal Bites TV, and I'll talk about it in just a second. But I want to remind listeners, since we have new stations, all of you listening in St. Louis, this guy's been on before. The last time he was on, he told us that he had 30,000 snakes and that he had been bit 100,000 times.
And he blames his mother.
Wait, how many? How many times?
100,000. 100,000.
When do you stop counting?
Yes.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, the thing that's funny is I just went through a really bad rash, physical rash, but a bunch of events where I got bit in the face about 5 times in the course of about a month. And that's rare. I don't get bit in the face very often, but it just seemed to be targeting my nose lately. So it happens. You know, it's just all part of the gig, I guess.
And again, you blame this all on your mother. It's always the mother's fault, right?
It's got to be. I got to blame it on somebody. And who else? I always tell any parents out there listening, let your kids get a snake as a kid and get it out of their system, or they're going to end up with 30,000 snakes.
I get it. So your mom said no, and that meant go out and get the snakes, right?
Exactly, right, exactly. And now I'm on a mission to prove to her that I can have snakes.
Oh, boy.
Tell us about your new adventure, Animal Bites TV.
Yeah, it's really cool. You know, I mean, we obviously are an online video. We started with Snake Bites TV about 7 years ago, and we grew to, you know, almost 250,000 subscribers on YouTube, a couple million views a month. And we decided to launch an animal network, you know, because we all know as animal lovers, and you guys are maybe not scaly lovers, but animal lovers. And so we decided to put the old programming that kind of went away from the networks over the last, 5 years in particular. We all see the networks more sensational, bad programming. Now a lot of the animal networks aren't even putting animal shows out. It's about building tree houses and cutting down redwood forests and stuff like that. So we decided to go back to our roots and put out a network that will eventually be close to 30 shows a week of all animals, not just reptiles, but all animals. And our tagline is, for animal lovers, by animal lovers. So literally, we produce the network. The animal lovers produce the network, and it's by experts. It's not hired actors that pretend like they know about animals. These are real marine biologists and cat experts. And I mean, this is for animal lovers by animal lovers.
I like that. It's about time because you're right. Animal Planet and Nat Geo hardly have animal shows anymore. But you remember back in the 80s there was a network called MTV, which stood for Music Television. It doesn't have any music on it anymore. Oh, no. The same thing has happened.
Exactly.
Oh, same owners, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always told people that, as much as animal lovers are upset at Animal Planet, it's no more so than history buffs are mad at History Channel, right?
Yep.
I mean, history doesn't have shows about history anymore. So this is just really the way the networks are going. And that's fine because we all know that online is really the future of entertainment. So we want to bring that entertainment. And again, we're not bound by advertisers that will force us to get such high ratings. We can do whatever we want. We can put out shows that are very niche shows. We've got got a bug show that is in development right now. That'll be a very, very niche show. But, there's going to be some hardcore bug people that are going to love to see an entomologist talk about his passion about beetles or whatever.
Awesome.
I think it's great. And you know what? I'm going to make a unilateral decision right now without consulting the boss. I think Animal Radio needs to back this guy here for what he's doing. I think you guys are doing some awesome stuff.
Well, thank you so much. And I mean, geez, I just hope that we can reach people with the message of how awesome wildlife is, and we don't have to demonize them. And I'll do it without trying to get bit in the face as much as possible.
Brian, thanks for hanging with us. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be here anytime, guys. Thank you.
Always a fun guy. Always like to have him on. Kind of crazy to do all of that stuff, though. Wow, that just blows me away. 100,000 bites.
Oh, and 5 in the last month in his face.
He's got to be like immune to that stuff.
Yeah, I guess he probably has all that venom in him anyway. It doesn't affect him.
I wouldn't want him to bite anybody.
Yeah, that's what you should be afraid of.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Vinny Penn, your party animal, coming back at you. One quick question to throw your way. Whatever happened to the doghouse? And I don't mean the sofa after you've had it out during dinner over what you were going to watch on TV that night. Not that doghouse. We all know that doghouse is alive and well. A buddy of mine just bought a new place. We're visiting him this past weekend. He takes me out to show me where Thor's room is. And Thor's room, to be honest with you, is what I would call the back patio. Huge awning, big sofa bed, plush, very comfortable. This whole area to meander about. And it got me to thinking about when I was a kid, almost every backyard had that really cool, just kitschy, cool doghouse way in the corner. And it was exactly that. I mean, it was a little small for some of the dogs, sometimes pretty big for some of the other dogs. And it would have their name over the roof. I mean, sure, back then we thought, when it pours and rains, they must run it. They never stopped to think how much the dog might love it in there. They don't need to be upgraded to the bridal suite. I don't know that a lot of I think the animal communicators out there, as much as I think that's farcical, they might tell you, I'm looking at Spot here, and I think he needs some space. I think he wants some distance from you guys. And, on the back patio, he could hear you squabbling over the O'Reilly factor, and it's not really working for him. The back patio? Please don't let the doghouse go the way of even the birdhouse or the tree house. Some other guys I know pointed to the fort they had in the backyard for their kids, and it was completely prefab. It was not just those planks wedged into the tree with the ladder just being planks of wood nailed into the tree kind of haphazardly. This is what youth was in the 70s. No, you weren't safe in that tree house in the backyard. And you didn't want to be. And yeah, the doghouse was a little bit small for the dog, and maybe he did get a little bit scared during thunderstorms. But it was better than him hearing the two of you make love. I'm Vinny Penn, your party animal, baby.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Gotta tell you, we were cutting off the tortoise penis earlier.
Oh, really? This is very exciting for you, especially. Why were you doing that?
Well, I didn't get to do it. One of my associates was doing it, but she was recently trained in some special techniques on spaying and neutering desert tortoises, which, believe it or not, we have a population problem in captivity. in the desert.
I didn't know that.
And then there's a wild population that's actually protected.
So you're not telling me that population control for tortoises is you actually cut their penis off, is it?
It's one method of it, yes.
Oh my
so
gosh.
for the males, basically, yes, we amputate their penis, but there's nothing else important in there. It's just kind of a reproductive structure. They still urinate, they have no other problems, and they still have their hormones, so they can still, be the big bad boys if they want.
Can I say that you just get a little too excited for that, about that whole thing?
It is just so cool. It's just the neatest thing. I don't know. But yes, I will say there were no males in the room when the procedure was done.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. There you go. It's a different thing for her every day when she walks. Imagine having a job where you walk in every day and it's something different. Today, it's just cutting off a tortoise penis.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting in a cubicle bitching and moaning about your same old job, think about that for a second. Think about Dr. Debbie's life. And her husband's a vet, too.
I can imagine the stories that they swap at home.
Yeah. When you sit down for dinner, do you talk about work?
Sometimes, yeah.
Is it like, hey, honey, are you enjoying the turtle soup?
We usually have like a few minutes. We have allotment of 5 to 10 minute max where we talk about that kind of stuff. And then we have to shut it off because it can invade too much of your personal life. So it is tough. But, there's a lot of professional couples that are, married in the same profession.
Dr. Sarah Boston is joining us, and she's written a book called Lucky Dog, How Being a Veterinarian Saved My Life. And she, too, is also a husband-wife vet team. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, Doc?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So your husband, does he practice in the same office as you, or do you have two different practices?
No, he's a large animal vet, and I'm a small animal surgical oncologist. So our days are about as different as they can be, but still be in the same profession. But like Dr. Debbie, I definitely appreciate being able to sit down and talk to him about my day.
And I bet you he has big forearms, too.
Stop it.
The book, Lucky Dog, How Being a Veterinarian Saved My Life. Tell us a little bit about it, because I understand you are an oncologist, a surgical oncologist for animals. Is that correct?
I am. Yeah, I take care of dogs and cats with cancer, and my specialty is surgery. I do just cancer surgery for dogs and cats. And I was in a situation where I found a mass in my own neck, and because of what I do and the animals I treat, I knew that it was new, and I knew that it was a thyroid mass, and I was concerned that it was a thyroid carcinoma, because that's something I see relatively commonly in my patients and in dogs. And so because of my knowledge, I think it really helped me to push for a diagnosis and push for surgery. Unfortunately, I was in a pretty slow system. I was in the community healthcare system, which I do love, but it was slow and it was frustrating.
That's the Canada's healthcare system?
Yeah, I'm Canadian. I work in Florida now, but at the time I was in Canada,
Yes.
And I definitely, felt like my own patients get faster, better care, and so that's what stimulated me to write this book.
Well, you said that the initial diagnosis, which you made, wasn't confirmed by other doctors?
Yeah, I did have, because thyroid cancer is not that common, although it is on the rise, I did have 4 doctors tell me that it was, either definitely benign or most likely to be benign, and that I shouldn't worry so much about it. And there's definitely a very strong method of advocacy in this book. I think if you think something's wrong with you, or if you think something's wrong with your pet, you really need to be an advocate in the healthcare system, whichever healthcare system you happen to be in.
Well, that's scary, because if you think about someone else going through that, they wouldn't have had the knowledge that you had, and it could have gotten really bad before it was caught.
I agree. It definitely scares me to think about that, because I at times felt a bit crazy because people kept telling me I was wrong, but there was something inside me that I kept thinking, no, I really think this was concerning, and it was growing, and the mass, it wasn't there, and then it suddenly was there, and I ultrasounded it with my husband Steve's ultrasound machine. That's the benefit of having a large animal vet around.
I don't know anybody who would do that at all.
I know. Although I think there's a few vets who would, because most people who are non-veterinarian think that's crazy, and then I tell vets and they're like, oh yeah, I've done that. But I did that mostly because I just wanted to look, and I couldn't get an ultrasound for a week and a half, and I just thought, well, I just want to see what's going on. We're curious people as veterinarians, and unfortunately what I saw was very consistent with what I see in my own canine patients who have thyroid cancer.
So what happened? Ultimately, did you have to have surgery? What happened to you?
I had 2 surgeries. So I had one side of my thyroid removed, and then it did come back as a thyroid carcinoma. that took quite a while. It took 2.5 months for me to go from finding the mass to having my first surgery. And then I had a second surgery to remove my entire thyroid gland, and then I had radioactive iodine. And I should probably say I'm doing great, because people who ask me are always sort of tentative about that. But I'm definitely in remission, most likely cured. Thyroid cancer, if it is caught early, does have a very high cure rate.
Is it the same treatment for animals as it is for humans?
Almost the same. We do the thyroidectomy, so very similar surgery. So the surgery that I do all the time is the surgery that I had myself, which was very trippy. We don't tend to use as much radioactive iodine in dogs, though. So that is a difference.
Tell us about the animals you have at home.
I have a dog, Rumble, who's on the book cover. He is a rescue dog from a shelter in Florida. We call him a Florida brown dog. His mom was an Australian healer. We don't know what his dad was, but probably a shepherd. He's wonderful. And I have a rescue cat who was going to be an anatomy cat, but he was too sweet for that, so he ended up coming home with me. So just one cat and one dog right now.
That sounds good. Well, let's go ahead and give out a couple books. It's called Lucky Dog, How Being a Veterinarian Saved My Life. If you're not lucky enough to get through, head on over to your bookstore and ask for it or order it on Amazon. Lucky Dog, How Being a Veterinarian Saved My Life by Dr. Sarah Boston, who's joining us.
One other thing I should mention, even though it's a book about cancer, if I do say so myself, it's a very funny book, and I think it will make people laugh.
Good.
And cry sometimes, but it does teach us to laugh sometimes when you're going through hard times.
Thank you so much for hanging with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was great to meet you guys.
Well, it just flew by.
We're out of here.
We'll see you next week.
Bye. Bye.
Take care, guys.
This is Animal Radio Network.